Good morning students. Today we are going to learn how to prepare the final accounts from incomplete records. So we have thought it is impossible to prepare final accounts because they do not provide all the information because the records are incomplete. Some of the information may not be available in the accounts. As we prepare in double entry system, all the information is not available. But here we can prepare the final accounts with the help of some items that should be found out. For that, we need to follow some steps. The first one, as we learned already, that opening statement of affairs is to be prepared to ascertain the opening capital. Now that we know how to prepare the statement of affairs, now the missing figures can be found out by preparing some accounts. First one, we have to prepare the cash book. To find out the missing item, the item may be cash purchases or cash sales. So these two items we can find out by preparing the cash book. Mostly we will prepare the total debtors account, total creditors account to calculate the credit sales and credit purchases. From the total debtors account we can calculate the credit sales, and from total creditors account we can calculate the credit purchases. Then two more accounts we can prepare: bills receivable account and bills payable account. Here we can find out from the bills receivable account the balances of bills receivable received. Then from bills payable account we can calculate the bills payable that we have accepted. Here from the credit purchases, credit sales we calculate. No? From that sometimes they may ask us to calculate they will give the cash sales. By adding this credit sales with the cash sales we can calculate the total sales. Then total sales, total purchases can be calculated. Then with this amount we are calculating. With this help, with these items we can prepare the trading account and profit and loss account, because purchases we have got, then opening capital is there. So with these items we can prepare the final accounts. So for that, here they will be giving in the beginning stages only one account they will ask you to prepare, either total debtors account to calculate the credit sales, or the total creditors account to calculate the credit purchases, and bills receivable account and bills payable account. Now first step we will see the total debtors account. First you should know what all the items will be entered on the debit side and credit side. First one, opening balance. Opening balance, we know debtors account is an asset. So asset shows debit balance. So opening balance will be in the debit side. To balance brought down you have to write. Then any cash received from the debtors. Cash received from the debtors, what is the entry? Cash account debtor to debtors account. So debtors is credited. So credit side by cash we will write. Then if we receive any checks, then we have to debit bank account, credit debtors account. So credit side by bank. Any discount allowed, that is loss for us. So that will be debited. It will be entered on the credit side of the debtors account. The same way sales returns also. Then bad debts, it is also a loss. Then any bills receivable we received. What is the entry? Bills receivable account debtor to debtors, because debtors is giving the bills receivable. So that will be debited. Debtors will be credited. So in the debtors account, credit side by bills receivable. Then any check is dishonored. Then we have to write debtors account debtor to bank. Again, when the check received, we write bank account debtor to debtors. Here if it is dishonored, the reverse entry. So debtors account debtor to bank. Then any bills receivable also dishonored, again debtors account debtor to bills receivable, because we have entered for the bills received, bills receivable account debtor to debtors. Then the reverse entry, when it is dishonored, total debtors account debtor to bills receivable. The balancing figure may be the to sales account credit sales. Usually they will ask for the credit sales only. This will be the balancing amount. If they have asked for the closing balance, then we should write, because opening balance shows debit balance, closing balance shows credit balance. It will come on the credit side. So by balance, carry down. Any one figure they will ask you to calculate, either closing balance or credit sales. Okay, now we will see one illustration. When I explain this illustration, you will understand it clearly. Okay, let me read it. Find out credit sales from the following information. Debtors, opening debtors, cash received from debtors, discount allowed, sales returns, then debtors, closing balance. So we have to calculate the credit sales. That means we should prepare the total debtors account. We have to use 2 pages. The right side particulars rupees sum column, debit side also particulars rupees column. Because it is a ledger account, you should write the left side end DR, right side end CR, debtor creditor. Now you have to write the first opening balance to balance brought down 40,000. Then next one, cash received from debtors. What is the entry? Cash account debtor to debtors. So debtors is credit. So credit side by cash 1 lakh. Then discount allowed. Discount allowed is a loss for the company. So you have, that is debit. Discount allowed account debtor to debtors. So credit side discount allowed. Sales return. Sales return also, because goods come in, that is debit. Debtors credit. So credit side by sales returns. Then the last one, closing balance by balance carry down. We have entered which side more, credit side, add and write all the amount as I explained you yesterday. In the same way you have to add and write. The same amount you have to write on the debit side also. Then find out the difference. That also you can write 0, 0, 0, here 7. So like that you have to add 1,27,000. This is sales account, to sales account bracket, because it is credit sales. We cannot write credit sales since it is sales account only. Bracket you can write credit, and bracket again you have to write balancing figure. This way we have calculated the credit sales. Same way you have to do the exercise 10, the same method. Now I will explain the 11th illustration. Here they have asked you to calculate the total sales. In the same manner, you have to prepare the total debtors account. We will get the credit sales. They have given cash sales. You have to add this cash sales with the credit sales that you are going to calculate. Then these two if you add, you will get the total sales. Only the extra step, you have to add total sales is equal to cash sales plus credit sales. Cash sales is given, credit sales what we are calculating from the total debtors account. These two you have to add. Let me explain this also. From the following details, find out total sales made during the year. Debtors as on 1st April 2018, 50,000. Cash received from debtors. Returns inward. Returns inward means you know sales returns. Bad debts, debtors account closing balance, cash sales. Cash sales will not come in the debtors account, additional item. When you add this item with the credit sales, we will get the total sales. Don't take this one in the account. So debtors account, total debtors account, in the same way use 2 pages. Particulars, rupees, debtor, creditor. Then to balance brought down. First amount to balance brought down 50,000. Usually, even if you don't understand, one shortcut I will tell you. If the opening balance this side, all the other items you have to write on the credit side. First, you should know debtors account shows debit balance. Then cash credit side, returns inward credit side, bad debts credit side, closing balance credit side. The same way, after 2-3 problem you will learn the creditor. The creditor, the opening balance will be credit side, all the others this side. It's a shortcut way. Even if you don't understand the entry, just remember total debtors account opening balance is on the debit side. So all the other items will be appearing on the credit side. That is the shortcut. Okay, here also you see opening balance debit side, cash received, discount allowed, sales returns, then closing balance everything credit side. The same way here also. That is the shortcut. Okay, balance brought out, then by cash received, by returns inward, by bad debts, by balance carried down, add the amount and write the same amount this side also, then find out the difference, we will get 1,90,000. That is the sales account. To sales account you write bracket credit, then that is the balancing figure. In bracket you have to write. Now we have to calculate to find out total sales. The total sales we will calculate. Total sales is equal to cash sales plus credit sales. Cash sales given in the problem 1,40,000. This 1,90,000 we have got from the total debtors account. Add these two, we will get rupees 3,30,000. That rupees symbol you can write. That is the answer. Now you might have understood illustration 10 and 11. The same method they have given, exercise 10 and 11 you can do. Now let us go to the next one, bills receivable account. Bills receivable account is related to the debtors account. Let's say we will see the format of the bills receivable account. Okay, bills receivable also a current asset. It is on the debit side, opening balance. Opening balance will come on the debit side because it is an asset. To balance brought down, opening balance. If opening balance is on the debit side, closing balance will be on the credit side. Now here we may receive cash from the bills receivables. So our bank, either they will deposit in the bank. So it will be, bills receivable will be paid into the bank and that bank will collect the amount. So either cash or bank account debtor to bills receivable, because that bills we are sending to the bank. It will go out. So bills receivable credit. So bank will be debit. The credit side we will write by cash or bank. Bills receivable honored. Then if the bills receivable dishonored, what we will do? Again we have to debit the debtors. Sundry debtors account debtor. Again bills receivable account should be credited, because when we receive the bills receivable, we write bills receivable account debtor to sundry debtors. But if it is dishonored, the reverse entry we have to write. Sundry debtors account debtor to bills receivable. Since bills receivable is credited, credit side by sundry debtors account we have to write. Then closing balance. Here again some more bills receivable when we receive, we have to write this entry. Bills receivable account debtor to sundry debtors. Then closing balance. Either they will ask this amount, how many bills we have received during the year. This may be the calculating amount or the closing balance. Anyone they will ask you to calculate. You might have understood this bills receivable account. Now let me explain the illustration 12. From the following particulars, prepare bills receivable account and compute the bills received from debtors. That is this one. Bills received during the year. This one they have asked. So all the other items they will give you. opening bills receivable, closing bills receivable. You know these two where to enter. Opening bills receivable, true balance brought down. This one, last right side, credit side, last item, by balance carried down. Then cash received for bills receivable. Cash received on the credit side by cash. Okay, then bills receivable dishonored. Dishonored, what is the entry? Debtors account debtor to bills receivable. So credit side by debtors. Now you see the solution here. Bills receivable account to balance brought down. That cash received for bills receivable. Then bills receivable dishonored 5,000. Then closing bills receivable by balance carried out. So what is the different amount? Different amount only. Bills received from debtors. So bills receivable account debtor to debtors. So you have to write to debtors. You have to write within bracket bills received during the year. Again one more bracket balancing figure. That is 75,000. Now you have understood this bills receivable account and total debtors account. In the next illustration, they have asked you to calculate both bills received from the debtors and the credit sales. And they have given the cash sales, we have to calculate the total sales. So that is the question, calculate total sales. To calculate total sales, here debtors, don't think only from the debtors account we can calculate, because bills receivable account is that details also given. So first we have to calculate the bills receivable account. Before that, let me read the particulars. Debtors opening, bills receivable opening, then cash received from debtors, cash received for bills receivable, bills receivable dishonored, then sales returned, bills receivable closing, sundry debtors closing, cash sales. This will come last, not in the account. Here if they have given both accounts to prepare, it is very important you have to prepare the bills receivable account first, because this account's balance again we have to take in the next account. So first prepare, without this account we cannot prepare the debtors account. So first bills receivable account, I will do this in the notebook and I will show to you. First bills receivable account. Bills receivable account you have to write. Debtor, creditor, draw line. 2 pages you can use. Here I am using only 1 page. Particulars, everything you have to write. Rupees symbol, particulars, rupees symbol. First bills receivable account shows always debit balance. So first one, to balance brought down. Don't write there debtors on 1st April 2017. No. To balance brought down. Debtors on 1st April 1,50,000. That you have to write. Sorry. This is not bills receivable amount. Bills receivable amount 40,000. Then after bills receivable, cash received from debtors, it will not come. Then cash received for bills receivable. So what is the entry? Cash account debtor to bills receivable. So by cash account 90,000. Then bills receivable dishonored. Dishonored, again we have to debit the debtors account, credit bills receivable account. So credit bills receivable, so by debtors. Debtors 10,000. Then you have to see all the item. Then sales return will not come here. Bills receivable on 31st March. So that is the closing balance. By balance carry down 30,000. Then closing sundry debtors, cash sales. Only this many items will come. Now we have to balance them. So 1,30,000. Write the same amount here, 1,30,000. So what is the amount? 90,000. 90,000 is that bills receivable received. So you have to write to debtors account. What is the entry? Bills receivable from debtors. Bills receivable account debtor to debtors. Here bills received. Bills receivable received. Balancing figure 90,000. Next account, total debtors account. The same way you have to draw line and you have to write from the beginning. Debtors on 1st April. So to balance brought down 1,50,000. Then cash received from debtors. Cash received from debtors, what is the entry? Cash account debtor to debtors. So by cash 3,90,000. Then next one, cash received for bills receivable, no. Bills receivable dishonored, no. Then next sales return. So by sales return amount 40,000. Then closing bills receivable and sundry debtors. Before writing the sundry debtors closing, you have to write that one, this one. Bills receivable account. Here you see two debtors. Here one debtor, this debtors. These two we have to enter. How? Here bills receivable account debtor to debtors. So here by bills receivable. Short I am writing by bills receivable. Here 90,000. Here what is the entry? Debtors account debtor to bills receivable. So to bills receivable. What is the amount? 10,000. So these two items we have to get from this bills receivable account. That's why I told you, when these two accounts they ask, first you have to prepare bills receivable account, then the debtors account. Now we have to enter the closing balance by balance carry down. What is that amount? Sundry debtors 1,30,000. Now you add all together. Here also credit side only more. 2, 3, 4 zeros. Then 9, 13, 22, 25. Balance 2, 5 plus 1, 6. So 6,50,000. Write the same amount here, 6,50,000. Then balance 2, 3, 4, 0. Here 5, 6, 6 plus 9, 15. Balance 1, 2, 2 plus 4, 6. So 4,90,000. What is this one? To sales. credit sales. You should not write to credit sales, simply bracket credit, then balancing figure. Now we have calculated the credit sales. What is the question? We have to calculate total sales. So you have to write total sales is equal to cash sales plus credit sales. How much is the cash sales? Cash sales 2 lakh plus credit sales we have calculated 4,90,000. So 6,90,000 is the answer. That is the total sales. So you can do all these exercises up to exercise 13 that I will just explain to you. Okay. Up to 9 we have completed by yesterday. Today 10. Find out credit sales. So credit sales we have to prepare debtors account. Total debtors account you have to calculate. Debtors as it was given in illustration 10. Opening debtors, closing debtors given, cash received credit side, discount allowed credit side, return inward credit side. Everything credit side. Then this also credit side. The balance will be to sales bracket credit balancing figure. Very easy. You will get this amount. Next exercise. Calculate the total sales. Here same total debtors account you have to calculate. Same items. Opening balance to balance brought down. This one by cash. Then by sales return. By bad debts. By balance carried down. We will get to sales credit. That is the balancing figure we will get. Then total sales. After preparing the account you have to write total sales is equal to cash sales plus credit sales. What we have got, we will get the total sales. Okay. Then the next one. From the following particulars, prepare bills receivable account and compute the bills received from the debtors. From that account, we have to calculate the bills received from the debtors. In the same way, bills receivable account you have to write. Then, beginning of the year, how we will write? Don't write the same words. You have to write to balance brought down 1,40,000. This one last item credit side. Leave that. Here cash received for bills receivable by cash. Then by debtors account. Bills receivable dishonored entry. Debtors account debtor to bills receivable. So by debtors 30,000. Then the balance. Then this closing balance. By balance carried on. We will write this one. Then credit will be more. Then debit side to debtors account. Bills receivable account debtor to debtors account. Bills receivable received. You have to write. That will be the balancing figure. Bills receivable received. Then the last one. The 13th illustration. Calculate total sales. Here we need to prepare both the account. First bills receivable account. To calculate bills receivable received, then we have to prepare the total debtors account to calculate credit sales. Then afterwards you have to prepare that statement. Total sales is equal to cash sales plus credit sales we have to calculate. You can do this one because it is just resembling the same illustration. You can do this one. Okay. Thank you students. Bye.